Star Trek has a lot of villains that resonate with a lot of people. Of course, the Klingons are the one that most people talk about, and there's been books on Klingons, including the original Klingon Hamlet and a Klingon dictionary. The Ferengi got so exciting that people actually produced a full Rules of Acquisition book on it. And so these, of course, have highlighted a lot of cool aliens. And of course, on the good guy side, there's the Vulcans that a lot of people identify with as well. But I've always really liked the Romulans. Ever since I was a kid and I saw Balance of Terror, they really just resonated with me more than anything else. And actually, with that and with the Enterprise incident, I was super invested in what those were coming about. And I loved with Tomalak in The Next Generation, and of course, the few appearances in Deep Space Nine where the Romulans teamed up to try to stop the Dominion in Season 3. Were really interesting stuff for me, and I loved it. Now, I didn't like at all where it went after this with Nemesis. Sorry, I'm getting the names mixed up. With Nemesis, they really went off the rails, and I think ruined a lot of the Romulan culture that they were setting up and the like. And with what's the next thing? 2009's J.J. Abrams, it really didn't work as well, and I'm sad that they, of course, used their little red matter to destroy Romulus and the like. But it is what it is. Now, there was another way, and there was something that actually developed this culture quite a bit, and it was called Star Trek Rihannsu. And I want to get into that right here as we talk about all things Star Trek, so please hit the like and subscribe button and join us as we talk about all things Trek here. Really appreciate you for being here, and I love being able to do deep dives like this. If you like this, I know this is a little different than a lot of the videos on the channel. Let me know in the comments down below, because I'd love to do more of this type of thing as well, because I think it's a lot of fun. So this is Star Trek Rihannsu right here, and this is a cover of a book club edition, which was a combination of the first 4 novels that Diane Duane actually made of this whole setup right here. So I'll get into this and what it is. I'm a sci-fi writer myself, by the way. If you like my thoughts on writing and sci-fi, I have a full trilogy here called Valiant Frontiers. This is about the crew of the EAS Valiant. They're out exploring different planets. It's really bringing back sci-fi's sense of wonder, sense of exploration, sense of heroism. If you like classic Trek, I think you're really going to enjoy this. I had a wonderful painted trilogy of covers from Lolo Guzman, a wonderful artist, so I could bring back that feel of classic sci-fi covers as well. So check this out. It's in the description below. Support our channel and support real science fiction as we get into this. Like I said, this is the 4-book book club combo version that was done into a hardcover. The original book was done. It was called. I'm off on it. It was not called The Romulan Way. The Romulan Way was the first one. My Enemy, My Ally, which was one of the Star Trek numbered novels, and it got followed up on. So let's summarize this a little bit. It's an unofficial book series by Diane Duane and Peter Morwood worked on The Romulan Way. They're married together, so they worked on it together. And it dramatically deepened the lore of the Romulan people, who they call Rihannsu in their own language. It left a legacy, both Star Trek novels and fandom. The series stands out for rich world-building, literary style, and for fleshing out Romulans as a complex, honorable culture distinct from both Vulcans and typical villain roles seen on screen. While these novels are considered non-canon, they're widely praised and have influenced later portrayals and perceptions of Romulan and Star Trek media. The core books of this were from 1984 to 2006. There were 5 of them, so even though this omnibus contains 4, the 5th one actually kind of wrapped things up. Came out with My Enemy, My Ally, which was one of the numbered novels, and then The Romulan Way, which was the second numbered novel a few years later, and these were in the 80s. Then in the 90s, they came out with Sword Hunt and Honor Blade, which was basically one book that just stopped right in the middle of it. And then The Empty Chair followed that up. So it's set during the original series. Captain Kirk, they center around the Romulan commander Ael Tiralehu, a character inspired by the female Romulan commander from the Enterprise incident. Now, while when I was a kid and I read these, I actually thought it was the commander from the Enterprise incident, hoping that it was going to be like that. But it turns out that she's a relation who that was her niece or something like that. Ael ends up as an adversary and evolves into a central heroic figure. The novels dive deeply into Romulan language, politics, honor codes, cultural history, making it feel as realized as the Klingons or Vulcans when they didn't really get a lot of that before. The Romulan Way especially does a whole historical half with it that it just goes in and talks about their breakaway from Surak and Vulcan and how they became the Romulan people. The first book, My Enemy, My Ally, introduces Ael. They have an alliance with Captain Kirk, and they thwart a nefarious Romulan plot involving Vulcans. They captured a bunch of Vulcans, and they're going to genetically mess with them. It was pretty bad, and she doesn't want that to happen either. They force both sides to reconsider their assumptions and loyalties, and a very good one. The second novel reveals more about everyday life and intrigue and moral dilemmas, as there's a covert Federation agent that Dr. McCoy goes to rescue, who ends up wanting to stay in her position at the end of it. Subsequent novels escalate the stakes as Ael becomes a revolutionary figure, the Federation Romulan on the brink of war, and themes of loyalty, exiles, and tension between the traditions and change coming to force. The series culminates in The Empty Chair, which grapples with regime change, a personal sacrifice, and even trying to bridge the gap between the book continuity and changes in later Star Trek shows. Pretty good stuff. This added a lot of cultural depth. The Rihannsu introduced a sophisticated language, mythology, religion, philosophy to Romulans, rivaling and surpassing what had been developed in the original Trek. It also did not influence canon in terms of the Next Generation and the like, but a lot of it was actually referenced once they got into Picard with it. Picard actually used some of the language that you would hear Picard talking with Romulans in the first season, saying words like Jolan True, which means hello in this language, which came from these books to begin with. I was very happy that they incorporated that when I saw that. So this is a touchstone for fans who want deeper exploration of Trek civilization. Ael is cited as one of the best original Star Trek characters ever written on this. So this is something that's praised quite a bit by me and others because it's got realistic political intrigue, nuanced moral conflicts, epic storytelling across generations. Readers appreciate it because it's an immersive take on what it could be like to live as a Romulan inside a complex, honorable, and sometimes cruel society. The books remain a model of how to add depth to these civilizations and have influenced the Star Trek franchise as we've seen. So pretty interesting stuff. I love it, and this is something that, again, you should start with My Enemy, My Ally, read the whole thing in order. It's 5 books long, and she does kind of reference it in Diane Duan's other books that she's done a couple other ones, Spock's World, and I can't remember the other one she did. And there's subtle references in there. They're not really connected, though, but this is one epic drama play. Books 3 and 4, Sword Hunt and Honor Blade, like I said, are a real setup for this revolution that they want to make in Romulus. And of course, The Empty Chair really solidifies and ends that and builds it in a really satisfying way. And I remember in the 90s, it was very weird for books 3 and 4. It didn't feel like it was a full conclusion, and it was nice that she got to be able to do that in 2006 and actually finish off this wonderful series. So this is a little deep dive into some Romulan culture and what this is, and I would love to see more developments of things like this with Star Trek. This is what Star Trek could do as building something bigger and actually building off of the lore that came before, rather than what they try to do, which is try to rewrite things. When you see what they did with, of course, the Klingons in Discovery and the Gorn in Strange New Worlds, it just doesn't make sense for those characters. I wish they'd build on things rather than try to remake them as their own new modern things. Star Trek works just fine. You don't need to modernize it, and this is a great example of that. Thanks for being here, guys. I hope this was enjoyable. Leave a comment down below with what you think about this. Hit the like and subscribe button. Do check out my Valiant Frontiers in the description below. If you like this video and my thoughts on sci-fi, I think you'll really enjoy my books. We'll be back soon.